Aaron, this guy started real estate in 2006. He is an amazing, amazing coach. I think it's called Elite Real Estate Coaching. If you haven't heard it, look it up, Google it. This guy's on fire. And what he does is he trains top agents in both Canada and the US. And the cool part about it is that he's gone through that, you know, the market that happened in 2008, it was a total, I can't swear on here. It was a total storm. So he's so good with navigating through those difficult times and those difficult markets. And this is absolutely what he's good for. He's got great personal skills. He's great on stage. And I'm so honored to bring him up here. Aaron, where are you at?
Let's get on.
There he is.
Who's been on Clubhouse with Aaron? Yes, massive value. All right, let's do it.
So I'm oftentimes asked on panels and podcasts, was there a clicker? Right here, okay. On panels or podcasts, if I have any regrets of my 17-year career selling real estate in high volume and coaching and training some of the top agents throughout the United States and internationally. And I've really thought about that recently. And I came up with two, and I'd like to share them with you if that's okay. So the first regret has to do with this picture here. So the year is 2011. I am on my 5th year of attempting to accomplish a pretty sizable goal, which is to have 100 closed transactions in a calendar year. And this is the year that I'm gonna do it. It's October, I'm at 87 closed. All I gotta do is just finish strong. So, you know, I'm prospecting, doing my thing. It's the last week of October, and I decide to set an appointment on Halloween at 4:30. Because I say to myself, you know what? I'm a trained professional. I'll get in and out of there in 45 minutes and be done. And I don't know if you've ever had one of those experiences or seen one of these memes. It's like, at this moment, he realized he screwed up. Because as soon as I sat down with this guy, he was a talker's talker. He spoke for 35 minutes and didn't even take a breath. Anybody been on an appointment like that before? Yeah. Now, what he proceeded to share with me during his tirade of his whole life is that he was a retired negotiator for unions. Oh yeah, this is someone who gets all of his self-worth, self-esteem, and identity from negotiating what he perceives to be a good deal. I'm already here, roll up my sleeves, let's go to work. Get through the formal listing presentation. We get to the part where we start talking about commissions. We go round and round in a circle for 50 minutes. Now, I'm, at this point, exasperated, a little bit pissed off, frustrated, so I get up and leave. Two things were true that day. First one is I didn't take that listing. The second one is I didn't get to participate in my son's first Halloween. Because you will notice in that picture, the people there, the one up top is my mom. The one right there is my lovely wife, Carla, who's sitting over there. That is Sebastian. He's also over there. He's going to be 14 now. But who's missing? Because I was on a listing appointment. I see a lot of heads shaking. You know what that's like, huh? Now, the second regret is actually more recent and had to deal with my transition to EXP. So prior to joining EXP, I actually owned part of a Keller Williams office. What's up, Melissa? How are you? And I actually sold it back in order to participate in this opportunity, lost about $80,000 during that transition. But while transitioning, I had a guide, I had a coach. His name is Lars. Some of you guys may know him, Real Estate B School. He's one of the top attractors in the company. And on our coaching calls, he would begin these calls in a way that I wasn't accustomed to and I didn't like. He would say, hey, I want you to bring me some personal wins and some professional wins. Now, as a hard-charging type A personality, professional wins were easy. Long list, right? Personal wins, that was a challenge. I was grasping at straws, okay? And finally, after ignoring him for like 2 months, the way he got my attention is he said, hey, bro, if you don't come back with a personal win, I'm not going to coach you anymore. He meant business. He got my attention. And you know how Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy flows, right? So I started to focus on it. And lo and behold, guess what? I found a personal win. And I was so excited. I'm like, don't even ask me about the professional wins, okay? Just ask me about the personal win. He asks me, and what I tell him is, I went to my son's soccer game. Now, to put that in perspective and to put that into context, the year previously, I had only gone to 1 to Sebastian's soccer games. Why? Because they were at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you are selling 150 homes a year, coaching 30 people one-on-one and 70 in groups, it's very difficult to stop what you're doing at 2:30 in the afternoon and come back and be in the office at like 5:30. So I shared this with Lars, and then I said very playfully, I was like, oh my God, do you know what his response was? He was like, what? He was shocked, Sebastian was, that I was at his game. And what Lars said to me, he looked right into my soul on Zoom and he said, Aaron, that is terrible that he's that surprised that you're there. Now, I don't know if you ever got the wind knocked out of you, but that's what that statement was to me, okay? I'm not used to people talking to me that way. That's why coaching is a very powerful thing, because they point things out that you may not be paying attention to. And I realized that there had to be a better way. I didn't know what the way was, but I was either going to find the way or make the way. How many people have gotten yourself personally or professionally where something was no longer acceptable to you? Show of hands. Yeah, that is the proper state that you need to be in order to take action. Because it was no longer acceptable to me that I was missing out on these things, but I didn't know what the answer was. So I did what I always do when I don't know what the answer is I get access to guides, people who do know what the answer is, and they've been down that path before. People like Lars, John Mikish, other guides that I got access to via books, which I'll share some of them with you today. And I'm excited to report that Sebastian's last soccer season, I only missed 1 of his soccer games. Yeah. What is also true is I haven't sold a single piece of real estate in 18 months. Wow. And between revenue share and investments, yeah, you can clap that up. He's like, oh, is that cool? Yeah, you definitely can. So, and between revenue share and investments, that supersedes my living expenses by a factor of 3. So I'm financially free and independent at 43 years old. Now, my intention in sharing that is definitely not to brag or boast. It's to demonstrate to you that I believe that everybody in this room with the right understanding of what this vehicle is, the right approach and the right strategies, you could do anything I've done in less time, okay? I've spent the last 17 years of my career selling over 2,000 properties, 80% of that business being listings sold, starting a coaching company with 100 coaching clients, selling back my interest in KW, and in 25 months, attracting 340 agents to this organization. So what, yep, you clap that up, yep. So, don't be bashful with the claps, they're good. So what we're gonna do for the time that I have allotted, right, the 16 minutes I have allotted, is I'm gonna go over with you 4 things. The first is the very difficult decision that I needed to make to go all in on attraction. I'm gonna give you the questions that I asked myself, and I'm gonna give you the book that I read that helped me to understand leverage better. Second thing we're gonna do is go over what we're doing to attract. It's not unique, by the way. Everything I've done in my career is not unique. Selling real estate in high volume is not unique. Attracting people in high volume is not unique. What is unique is execution. If you can come up with something new, people will clap. If you can execute, you'll be worshiped. It's the hard part, okay? Third thing we'll do is I'll show you the progress. The proof is in the progress. The fourth, I'll go over why I believe the next 18 to 24 months is going to be an unbelievable opportunity in attraction. Who's up for this? Say aye. I'm sorry, I didn't fly all the way from Fort Lauderdale for that level of energy. Who's up for this? Say aye. Now we're operating properly. Okay. So the difficult decision that I needed to make is to go all in. And the reason why that's so difficult is because money has an addictive quality. And because of it, we get addicted to the way that we receive it. You see, I've been receiving commission checks on a regular basis, and it's like a little hit. Like, yeah, give me another one, right? And like Brent Gove has told us before, you know, doing deals is fantastic. It's a wonderful mechanism for raising an enormous amount of cash. Based on everybody's education levels, we're making a lot of money for what we're doing, okay? At the same time, it'll pay your bills. Attraction will take care of you and your family for the rest of your life. Okay? So that's why it's so difficult to pivot. Okay? And a lazy mind's answer is just to work harder, guys. I created an identity of somebody who could grind it out. 3 hours a day, 6 days a week of prospecting for 17 years. Do you know what that leads to, guys? Incremental gains. You might do 25 more deals, 30 more deals. If you want 10x, if you want to make a quantum leap from one place to another, you need different vehicles, different strategies, different mental maps, and different vehicles. Okay? So these are the decision makers, the filters that I use. Now, if you take a picture of this, this is the book that I read that helped me to understand leverage. I had a very rudimentary understanding of leverage until recently. It's called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I know it sounds like somebody in a cave. He's not in a cave. He's a Silicon Valley guy. It's a fantastic book. You should check it out. Okay? So, as people that are entrepreneurial, you guys see money everywhere. I know I do. So you know what the hard part is? Deciding what's worth your time. Do you know how many agents I meet that want to sell real estate, start a property management company, own part of a title company, and people would rather own 4 businesses that make no money than one that does? It's just ego, right? So how do you decide what's worth your time? Let's say you have 10 opportunities to stack time on top of. What questions can you ask yourself to help you to decide? Okay? The first question that I began to ask myself is, does this compound? Do you guys know what I mean by compound? You guys understand compound interest, correct? Does this get bigger over time? You see, with selling real estate, inputs and outputs are associated. I take one listing, I get 1 commission check. Maybe 2, tops. How many of you guys would like to have 1 turn into 10, turn into 20? You see, because I've brought 49 people to the organization, that's turned into 340. That's an 8x return on my time. The second question I ask myself is this highly leveraged? And here's what you need to ask yourself. Can this exist without you? And can it grow without you? How many of you guys have had, if you have a significant other, when you're on vacation, them give you static about bringing your laptop with you? Anybody besides me? Yeah, all the time. Why? Because it can't exist without me and it can't grow without me. Does that make sense? And the way that I know that that's true is we just did a leadership retreat in the Dominican Republic. The organization existed without me and it continued to grow without me. Now, once I use those filters, I'm only left with 2 opportunities. And with those 2 opportunities, I move to the next filter. Which one is in alignment with my natural skills and abilities? Which one will allow me to do meaningful work with people that I like and enjoy? And which one will allow me to have the biggest impact on the most people? When you go through that filter, you're left with 1. Do you guys want to know what the hard part is when you get down to the 1? Saying no to everything else. That's the hard part. So I iconed exactly once. Let go of 150 transactions a year, focused all of our time, all of our energy, all of our resources on this because of these filters. Does that make sense to you guys? Good. Now, what are we doing that's working? How do you build? As I mentioned to you, everything I'm doing is not unique, okay? People have used events to build like this. They've used marketing to build, and that's what we're doing. But in order to really understand what it is we're doing, we have to understand the definitions of things. So if we have an end product, what's our end product here at this company? What's the end product? The platform. The platform. Who's the end consumer? Agents. My job is to introduce the end product to the consumer. Does that make sense? The compensation plan that goes 7 levels deep, that's how I get compensated to do it, because we're not salaried individuals. We are the marketing division for EXP. So if I want to go pro and be professional at this, it would require that I do events at scale and marketing at scale, which is media. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So what are we doing? Events. We're doing a monthly lunch and learn event like we're doing right here. I do them every single month. I haven't missed a month since November of 2022. Okay. We're also doing quarterly socials. So here's an event. Look, just like this. Easy peasy. Get people in a room, add value, teach them something, have a conversation at the end. And yes, we will have a conversation. Okay? Quarterly socials. Once a quarter, we spend about a couple $1,000 to bring people together. Okay? That's an investment in your attraction business, right? Everybody in that picture, by the way, has partnered with us. It's the first one we ever did. We also we do big events. So last year, or this year actually, in January, we had 138 agents from around the country fly into South Florida. We did a seminar portion. Some of our leadership, that's Lars and John there, came in. That's my sponsor, Jose. We did a seminar portion. Then we did a black tie James Bond gala. Great for retention, great for culture, okay? And then if you really want to, yeah, it's part of the event, it's fun. If you really want to like supercharge growth, it's easier to grow through others than it is through your own efforts. It took me entirely too long to figure that out, okay? You need leadership and duplication. So what we did last month is we took 20 of our top people in the organization and we flew them out to the Dominican Republic and we did a leadership retreat with them, pouring into them, helping them. Wouldn't it be awesome on the residential resale side if you had 20 other people taking listings on your behalf? Would that be fantastic? Well, you can do that here, okay? Now, the next thing we're doing is this media thing, okay? Now, we live in a time of permissionless leverage, guys. Let me ask you a question. 50 years ago, how talented did you have to be to get on TV? Exceptionally. Now, do you have to be talented to post something on YouTube? No, it is what? Free. How talented did you have to get on TV? A lot. Radio. Or you had to be rich. I could post something right now and it's easy and it's free. But what do most of us use it for? Consumption. And trying to get significance because we worry about if somebody's liking what I'm watching or what I'm doing. We're not using it as a tool that it actually is. So I'm curious, just by a show of hands, and I don't know what's going to happen here, how many people have interacted with a clone of me in the digital world without meeting me in the physical world? Show of hands, up, 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 if you've watched some of the content. Up, 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 hi, 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 hi. Good, so maybe like 30% of the room. You know what's awesome about that? I'm as far away where I live as I could possibly get. I live in South Florida, clear across the continent, okay? The only thing that makes that possible is media. And the thing to understand about media is you have to build this ecosystem of attention, short, medium, and long, okay? Short form, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, you know what that's like? Sitting in a room with billions of people and doing this. Hey, 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 look at me. That's all it is. Why would somebody stop their infinite scroll that is the length of the Eiffel Tower every day? Why would somebody stop and pay attention, okay? And then the goal is to get them to long form. Because if you get them to YouTube, what happens is imagine being able to send a clone of yourself that's the best version of you. It never gets tired, never gets sick, never quits. And you can send it out into the universe to have conversations with infinite amounts of people, to formulate relationships with them. A parasocial relationship. How many people have ever felt that they knew a celebrity that they really like? Anybody? Show of hands. Hands, 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 hands. Yeah, you don't know them. Why'd you feel like you knew them? Because you what? Watch them all the time. Does that make sense? So I have to create that ecosystem, and then I also have to understand this. So here's one of the videos we got that went viral, over a million views. Now think about that. 1 million views, a stadium that fits 80,000 people, that is 10 stadiums full of people watching your boy. Isn't that fantastic? I'm curious, would it be super helpful for you to walk into rooms and people know who you are without you having to introduce yourself? Yep. This is the mechanism that allows it to happen, guys. Okay? Now, this is the team that I use to edit and post and do all that stuff. I want to talk to you really quick about volume. So according to Google, people touch their phones 150 times a day. An hour of that approximately-ish is on media platforms. What's going to increase the chances that you're going to see me during that hour? Anybody? I know we're realtors, but anybody? Frequency. It's volume. I post 3 to 4 times a day, 7 days a week on all platforms. It's impossible for you to not see me. 5 times a week on YouTube. Do you want to go pro, or am I being an amateur? Does that make sense? Okay, so this is the team that I use. If you want to book a call with them, they can help you. Okay. Now, really quickly, what I want to talk to you about is story branding as well, because we all speak this language of story. Okay. And the language of story is there's a hero who has a problem that they can't solve themselves. And a guide shows up who gives them a plan, who calls them to action, because heroes do not take action on their own. They need to be called to action. And then the hero gets what they want and they avoid what they don't want. So think about that in terms of your media. Do you know what most of you guys are doing? Taking pictures of who you're with and you working out. Are any of you physical trainers? Why are you posting that? That doesn't position you as a guide to help somebody in real estate. You know, who's that about? You! Who's the hero? You! You're not positioning yourself as a guide to help anybody with anything. And you know who's watching that, by the way? Your parents. Nobody else. So what I'm aware of is, okay, what do agents want the most? Period, end of story. They just want to do deals, guys. This company gave out $230 million in revenue share. 12% of it participated in that. You know what that tells me? Everybody else just wants to do deals. So if you're interested in attraction, position yourself as a guide to help agents do more deals. Not, hey, let me ask you a question. Look at my beautiful new listing. Who's that about? Who's the hero? Look at the home that I just sold on 1265 Banana Street. Who's the hero? You see what I'm saying, guys? Yeah. You're doing it wrong. Okay? This is the book. This should be your holy grail Bible on media. It's the book Story Brand. When I saw him speak, I realized he understood exactly what he was saying. I've studied it in depth, and it influences everything that I do. Okay? Again, more free resources for you. So we've been telling stories for 2,000 years. It's thousands of years, probably longer. It's the only thing that can captivate human attention for hours at a time. There's nothing else that we have, no technology, nothing else. And we've come up with best practices. This is the best practice. Harry Potter's the hero. Who's the guide? Dumbledore. Right? Luke Skywalker's the hero. Who's the guide? Obi-Wan. Right? Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games is the hero. Who's the guide? Hamish. By the way, is the hero a strong character in the story? They're the second weakest. Does Harry Potter know what he's doing at the beginning? No. Does he know he's like the strongest wizard in the world? No. He's stumbling, bumbling, fumbling. That's why when we try to make ourselves heroes, we're doing it wrong. Who's the strongest character in the whole movie? The guide. Does that make sense? And that should inform everything you do, all your communication and all your media. Okay, so here's what's been happening. So the proof is in the progress, right? This is about 6 months in with EXP. You could see about 64 agents. This is where it is today. Okay? Just a little bit later. Yeah. And I know because I spent 17 years of my career selling 2,000 homes to get enough cash to invest that pays me about $10,000 a month in residual income. This is twice as big as that with almost no money. That's how powerful of a vehicle it is. Okay? And here's what's been happening. Here's the trajectory, right? So let me ask you a question. Being that this compounds and I'm using media and it's highly leveraged, this is what has been happening with RevShare. Which direction is that going to keep going in? 100%. You know who's happy about that? My wife down there. Yep. Yep. 100%. So why do I believe that the next 18 months, 24 months is going to be an enormous opportunity for attraction? In the United States anyway, there's 120,000 brokers in the US, 70% of them have less than 10 agents. You know what that tells me? Those people are all in production. And they don't make any money on their agents. The only reason they're doing it is because of ego. Second reason is this. Company retained dollar to brokerages 50 years ago was 50%, guys. 50%. For every $1 came in, they kept 50 cents. Do you know what it is today? 5 to 8%. Massive compression in net. And they're dealing with the fact that revenue's gone down substantially because volume's gone down. And with this new NER lawsuit that's coming down the pipe that could affect revenue, guys, they only have 4 options. Do you know what they are? Sell. Is it a good time to sell? No, terrible time to sell. 2, raise fees and force you to use their company-owned title escrow mortgage. I already see that happening. 3, merge with other independent brokerages to try to get more agents to get to the ancillary. Or number 4, get rid of all of the expenses. Which, by the way, that's what cloud-based brokerage does, guys. We have the solution to their problem. Now, I can already hear some of you guys like in your mind saying things like, well, he could do it, and he's this, and he's that. Here's what I want you to understand. You are not as far away from the dream lifestyle that you really, really want. You're one decision away, you're one relationship away, you're one mental map away, okay? And understand this as well, that the number 1 most repeated verse in the Bible is don't be afraid. The number 2 most repeated verse in the Bible is I am with you. The number 3 most repeated verse in the Bible is God is good. My name is Aaron Novello. I hail from Southeast Florida. If I could be of help or a guide to you, please let me know. Let's go. Let's grow.